Hello and welcome back to another episode of American Classic Tour TV. I'm your host JD Conroy, and on today's episode, we've got a big announcement here at American Classic Tour. So big, I think it calls for a drum roll. Let's hear it. Can I get a drum roll, please? Beginning in 2022, American Classic Tours will be offering European river cruises. Now, over the past few years, many of you have told us that you'd like us to offer international tours, that if we offered European river cruises, you'd like to join us. So in 2022, we'll be offering 4 river cruises. On these river cruises, we're going to be partnering with Amma Waterways, and Amma is best in class when it comes to European river cruises. Of the many potential partners we looked at for these cruises, we decided to partner with Amma Waterways because we felt that their brand most closely aligned with our brand. They're a smaller company with a family feel. They've got the best customer service in the river cruise industry, and of course, they deliver the highest quality experience. So later in this presentation, I'll tell you more about Amma Waterways' elegant ships and phenomenal onboard experience. We'll also discuss the advantages to river cruising, why you should consider river cruising, and also the American Classic Cruise experience, what you can expect when you cruise with us here at American Classic Tours. But folks, I can't wait any longer. I'm so excited to show you these 4 itineraries, so let's jump right in. Next summer, we're going to be offering the captivating Rhine. Contoured by vineyard-clad hills and romantic castles, the legendary Rhine captivates. From Amsterdam's colorful canals to the majestic Swiss Alps, journey through the magnificent scenery and fabled villages in lost time. Now, if you take a look at our map, we'll fly into Amsterdam where we'll enjoy a 2-night pre-cruise before embarking on an 8-day cruise down the Rhine River. We'll disembark our cruise in Basel, and then we'll journey to Lucerne for a 2-night stay, and we'll end our journey with a 2-night stay in Zurich, Switzerland. Okay, so let's take a look at our itinerary. We'll fly into Amsterdam where we'll take a guided tour of the charming capital of the Netherlands. Visit Zaanstad, where you'll observe life as it used to be lived in the Netherlands. Authentic windmills, houses, and shops were relocated to this picturesque area, creating a typical 17th to 18th century village. Amsterdam is home to 165 canals, and you'll get to enjoy some of them on your canal cruise through the city. Next, we'll embark on our 8-day cruise from Amsterdam. Here are some of the highlights we'll take in on our cruise. Take a guided tour of Cologne, Germany, where you'll see the mighty Cologne Cathedral. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is one of Germany's most revered Gothic masterpieces. Next, enjoy some scenic cruising through the beautiful Rhine River Gorge. And folks, that's one thing about this cruise in particular, the Rhine River Cruise, is its scenery, its natural scenery is just breathtaking. And folks, one thing you're just gonna love to see on this cruise is as we cruise through the Rhine River Gorge, seeing the beautiful castles sitting atop the dramatic bluffs is just a sight to behold. Discover the small winemaking town of Rudesheim, where you'll join a wine tasting to discover the flavors of the town's iconic vineyards, or you can drink up stunning views by soaring high above the vineyards on a gondola ride to the Niederwald Monument. While in Rudesheim, take in Siegfried's Mechanical Musical Instrument Museum to be charmed with its remarkable collection of self-playing musical instruments. And be sure to taste one of the town's special delights, Rudesheimer coffee, ceremoniously made with brandy, coffee, and whipped cream. Visit Heidelberg, the perfectly preserved medieval city nestled in the Neckar River Valley along Germany's Castle Road. Discover the iconic red sandstone Heidelberg Castle in the Great Vat, an 18th century 49,000-gallon wine cask. Explore Speyer, one of Germany's oldest cities. This town is known for the largest Romanesque cathedral in Europe, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the medieval Old Gate. Next, we'll visit the enchanting town of Strasbourg. Strasbourg offers flavors of both France and Germany because of its borderline location. Enjoy a panoramic tour past the stunning Parc de la Orangerie, the European Parliament, and the Place de la République before walking through its iconic Little France district, lifted straight from the ages of a fairy tale. Wander through charming streets past the Cathedral of Notre Dame with its famous astronomical clock. Step back in time with a visit to Rijksweer, which looks almost the same as it did in the 16th century. See Freiburg, founded in 1120 and home to Freiburg's Münster, a Gothic cathedral said to have the most beautiful spire on earth. Hike the Black Forest, a magical land full of cultural traditions. And then finally arrive in Basel, where we will take a guided tour before disembarking our cruise and journeying to Lucerne. Discover the unrivaled beauty and charm of Lucerne on a guided tour. The city is home to spectacular medieval walls and towers dating back to the 13th century and the iconic Lion Monument. We'll also take a cruise on the marvelous Lake Lucerne before journeying to Zurich, where we'll stay for the last 2 nights of our tour. Zurich is Switzerland's largest city. It seamlessly blends its historic past with its progressive future, all of which will be on full display during your city tour. One of the top experiences in Zurich is a visit to Old Town, where you'll find yourself amongst medieval houses, churches, and the modern Bahnhofstrasse, one of the world's most expensive and exclusive shopping avenues. A quick interruption before we move on to our next itinerary. I want to talk about why you should take a European river cruise, or in other words, what are the advantages to European river cruising? So I'm sure some of you have been on a European river cruise before, and if you haven't been on one yourself, I'm sure you've had friends who have been on them, or at least you've heard of them because they're very, very popular. And folks, they're not popular by accident, okay? There's some real distinct advantages to European river cruises over other types of cruising and over other types of travel to Europe. Let me explain what I mean. Compared to your typical ocean cruise, which carries hundreds, if not thousands of passengers, European river cruises are small, usually carrying about 150 passengers. The size makes for a nice, relaxed, uncrowded, and intimate experience. Now, when you take a look at a map of Europe, you'll see that the rivers cut through just about every corner of this continent. And many of Europe's most iconic, historic cities are located on these rivers. And when you take a step back and you put on your historian's hat, this makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Historically, rivers were a very important means of transportation. So if a city were located on a river, it would be easier to travel to and easier to trade with. So again, there's countless historical gems. Most of Europe's top places sit along its many rivers. And traveling by river cruise is such a relaxing way to get from place to place on your journey to Europe. Each day you pull up to a new city and you can spend the day taking in a number of different shore excursions. And after a day of touring, you can come back to your ship where you can enjoy a cocktail, a gourmet dinner, and then often overnight you sail to the next city while you're sleeping. This is great because all of your time awake is spent either touring on shore excursions or relaxing and enjoying the amenities of the ship. There's no time wasted on transportation, which makes European river cruises both very efficient and very relaxing. So one thing I've noticed over the last 5 years leading American Classic Tours is that many of our travelers really love tours where we only stay at one hotel, so you only have to unpack your bag once. Well, this concept of unpacking your bag once is part of why river cruises are so popular. It's so nice to travel over 8 days going from city to city, but each night you get to come back to the same room where your bag is already unpacked. And it's not just any room, folks. It's part of a floating hotel which features 5-star level amenities, and your room will feature a view that is always changing. Journey along the Danube to see why this storied river has inspired generations of artists, poets, and musicians. Indulge your passion for timeless architecture and art in 4 magnificent capital cities: Budapest, Bratislava, Vienna, and Prague. Let the hills come alive with the sounds of music in Salzburg and the Austrian Lake District. If you take a look at our map, you'll see we'll fly into Budapest, where we'll enjoy a 2-night pre-cruise before embarking on our cruise down the Danube to Vilshofen. We'll disembark our cruise in Vilshofen and then journey to Prague for a 3-night post-cruise. We'll be sailing on the lovely Amma Sonata on this journey. Okay, let's take a look at our itinerary. We'll fly into Budapest, one of Europe's most regal and storied cities. It is often described as the Queen of the Danube. And on our guided tour of Budapest, we'll take in Fisherman's Bastion, the Great Market Hall, Heroes Square, Matthias Church, and the magnificent Hungarian Parliament building, which, folks, if you take a look at the picture, it's gotta be one of the prettiest buildings in Europe. We'll embark on our 8-day cruise down the Danube River in Budapest. Some highlights of our tour include Bratislava, Slovakia. This old city played host to the crowning ceremonies of 11 Hungarian kings and queens between 1536 and 1830, earning it the title of the Coronation City of Kings. Next, we'll visit the City of Waltzes, Vienna, Austria. Take in the regal splendors of this city on a guided tour. See the majestic Opera House, St. Stephen's Cathedral, and the former imperial palace of the Habsburgs. Visit the Melk Abbey, which is a Benedictine abbey situated perfectly in the town of Melk in Lower Austria on a rocky outcrop overlooking the Danube River. The abbey contains the tomb of St. Coloman and the remains of several members of the House of Babenberg, Austria's first ruling dynasty. Explore the historic center of the lovely city of Salzburg. You'll see the Mirabell Gardens, Residence Square. Next, we'll visit Passau, Germany, where you can take a guided hike up to the historic Vesta-Oberhaus fortress. We'll disembark our cruise in Vilshofen, where you'll enjoy a festive Oktoberfest celebration before departing for Prague. On our way to Prague, we'll stop in the Bavarian city of Regensburg, known for its well-preserved medieval core. We'll arrive in Prague for a 3-night post-cruise stay. Experience the wonders of Prague and its historic city center that is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site on your city tour. Marvel at the 1,000-year-old Prague Castle, and walk the romantic Charles Bridge to the Old Market Square, where you'll find the capital's famous astronomical clock and the Church of Our Lady Before Tin, which has to be one of the most striking buildings in all of Europe. We'll finish this cruise with one of my favorite things in the entire world, and that is beer. Okay, beer has a long and illustrious history in the Czech Republic. The first brewery known to have existed in the Czech Republic dates back to 993 AD. That's a long time ago. Pilsner Urquell was created in 1842, being the first Pilsner ever made, while Budweiser came into being in the Czech city of Budweis. Beer is a core part of the country's national identity, so much so that the Czechs are the biggest consumers of beer in the world. The country is home to more than 100 breweries with a combination of big names and micro establishments offering a huge range of styles. So on our last day, we'll join a Czech beer tour to learn all about this history and enjoy some tasty beer. A quick interruption, I want to talk about the American Classic experience, what you can expect when you cruise with us here at American Classic Tours. When you cruise with American Classic, your tour will begin like every other American Classic tour with a free home pickup at your front door. Your limousine driver will bring you to the airport, where you'll be met curbside by an American Classic Tour staff member who will lead you inside to meet your tour director and the rest of your group. Together with your tour director and your group, you'll fly to Europe. And when we arrive in Europe, our group will travel to our hotel, where you'll enjoy upscale, clean, comfortable accommodations just like you would enjoy on our domestic land tours. So for those of you who've been on our domestic land journeys, our cruises work the exact same way. From the moment you walk out your front door to your limousine, we've got all the details taken care of for you. You'll enjoy the convenience, the security, and the camaraderie that comes with traveling with the tour director and a group from your area. The Colors of Provence. This tour is marked by its romantic cities and artistic epicenters, rolling vineyards and legendary wineries, ancient Roman ruins and charming French towns, and it is loaded with history featuring some of the great architectural gems of the Middle Ages. If you take a look at our map, you'll see we'll fly into Paris, where we'll enjoy a 3-night pre-cruise before traveling to Lyon, where we'll begin our cruise down the Rhone River to Avignon. We'll disembark our cruise in Avignon and then head to Barcelona for a 3-night post-cruise. We'll be sailing on the elegant Amma Christina on this tour. Okay, so let's take a look at our itinerary. We'll take a guided tour of Paris to see its signature sights: the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe. Visit Montmartre, a neighborhood located in the northern section of the city known for the breathtaking Basilica Sacré-Cœur. Near the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, many artists lived in, had studios, or worked in and around the neighborhood of Montmartre, including Monet, Renoir, Degas, Picasso, Pissarro, and Van Gogh. Now folks, Paris is my favorite city I've ever been to. When I stepped into the city for the first time, I felt like I was stepping into another world. I felt like I was in a fairy tale or something. And that's because Paris is so dreamy, it's so romantic, it's oozing with history and culture. And you'll feel this dreaminess that I'm talking about, especially as we take our evening illumination tour of Paris, which is known as the City of Light. Seeing all of Paris's beautiful, historic architecture illuminated at night is simply breathtaking. Next, we'll board a high-speed train from Paris to Lyon, taking in scenic views of the quiet French countryside along our way. We'll arrive in Lyon, which was once known as the food capital of France. We'll take a guided tour of the city starting in Fourvière Hill, part of the city's historic region that is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and home to the 19th century Basilica Notre Dame de Fourvière. Then we'll take in Old Town Lyon and the lovely Saint-Jean district, where you'll be introduced to the city's unique covered walkways known as traboules. After touring Lyon, we'll embark on our 8-day cruise aboard the Amma Christina. Some highlights of our cruise include a visit to Beaujolais, a legendary wine region where we'll see rolling vineyards, tour traditional wineries, and indulge in some delicious tastings. You'll take in Vienne, where you can follow the footsteps of the ancient Romans, where you'll see the amazingly well-preserved Augustus and Livia temples, the historic St. Maurice Cathedral, a Gothic church which took more than 500 years to build. Visit the ancient ruins of Arles, such as the Roman amphitheater and the church of Saint Trophime. Vincent van Gogh spent some of the last years of his life in Arles, and many of his most famous works are inspired by the area. Learn about Van Gogh's time in Arles on a guided walking tour led by the Vincent van Gogh Foundation. In the charming town of Tarascon, see the enchanting medieval fortress, the Castle of Tarascon. Visit Camargue National Park, a scenic natural territory that lines the Mediterranean Sea south of Arles. Sitting between the Rhone River and the Mediterranean Sea, this vast wetland is home to a mosaic of rich landscapes. Vineyards, asparagus fields, and rice farming have helped shape this park's beautiful landscapes, and today it is spotted with the iconic Camargue horse, an ancient breed of horse indigenous to the Camargue area. Its origins remain relatively unknown, although it is generally considered to be one of the oldest breeds of horses in the world. Take a step back in time as you tour the medieval hilltop village of Les Baux de Provence. Next, we'll arrive in Avignon, which is known as the City of Popes. Avignon was the center of the Catholic Church in the 14th century, when its papal palace was the equivalent of today's Vatican. Avignon is also home to the UNESCO World Heritage Site Pont du Gard, a Roman aqueduct that was a masterpiece of ancient engineering. We'll disembark our ship in Avignon and take a high-speed train to Barcelona, where we'll enjoy a 3-night post-cruise stay. Barcelona, the bustling capital of Catalonia, is an artist, architects, foodies, historians, and culturalists' dream. Tour the cobblestone lanes of the Gothic Quarter in the medieval city center. See some of Antoni Gaudi's imaginative architectural creations, especially the La Sagrada Familia. Join an excursion to the mountain of Montserrat, which is home to the Benedictine monastery of Santa Maria de Montserrat, located about 30 miles from Barcelona. Once there, you'll take a ride to the top of the mountain and experience the indescribable view of the Catalonian landscape. The monastery, officially founded in 1205, soon began to receive pilgrims and visitors who contributed to the spread of stories of miracles and wonders performed by the Virgin Mary. The whole of Montserrat is built around the facilitating worship of the Black Madonna and the Basilica. A quick interruption to tell you about Amma Waterways and their onboard experience. Amma has elegant ships. On all 4 of the cruises we're offering in 2020, the ships will feature twin balconies. Take a look at this diagram. As you can see, your room will have both an indoor French balcony and an outdoor balcony. Your room will also feature a flat screen TV, complimentary Wi-Fi, and of course your own private bathroom. One of the things that really stands out about Amma Waterways is its award-winning dining. And don't take my word for it. Writing in Berlitz River Cruising in Europe, cruise critic Douglas Ward had this to say about Amma Waterways. Amma Waterways spends considerably more on high-quality food ingredients and wine and on hotel cruise service training than any other river cruise company. To Amma, the culinary experience is a way to enhance and expand your overall travel experience. Now, when you're not off exploring another stunning destination, take some time to relax and enjoy Amma's fine amenities. You can soak up some sun or take a dip in the refreshing pool with a swim-up bar as we pass by century-old castles, charming villages, and other breathtaking scenery. With fewer guests on board, you can enjoy the luxury of space to unwind, relax, and reconnect with your fellow travelers. After a marvelous day of immersive shore excursions, return to the ship and treat yourself to a bit of a pampering with a soothing massage. Are you a fitness junkie? Amma has you covered. Hit the treadmill or lift some weights while cruising from one destination to the next. And of course, you can't forget about the bar, where you can enjoy fine wines and premier cocktails on board the ship. A quick note about drinks. Beer and wine is complimentary during all meals, and cocktails are complimentary during the cocktail hour, which is an hour before dinner each night. Lastly, Amma's cruises feature premier entertainment, and part of the draw of traveling to new destinations is immersing yourself in authentic local culture. And Amma's evening entertainment on board includes musicians, folkloric dancers, and storytellers who live and work in the cities we sail to and are happy to share their cultural traditions and talents with you. Get into the festive holiday season with us next year on our Christmas markets on the Rhine cruise. From Switzerland's glittery cities, Lucerne and Zurich, to the iconic canals of Amsterdam, cherish the glory of the season with visits to some of the world's most timeless Christmas markets. If you take a look at our map, you'll see we'll fly into Zurich, where we'll enjoy a 2-night stay before traveling to Lucerne for another 2-night stay, and from there we'll travel to Basel, where we'll begin our cruise to Amsterdam. We'll be sailing on the lovely Amma on this tour. Let's take a look at the itinerary. Join a walking tour of Zurich and experience the magic of the city dressed in her holiday best. You'll visit Zurich's Christmas markets, including the largest indoor Christmas market in Europe, located in Zurich's main train station. An absolute highlight is a 50-foot tall Christmas tree decorated with thousands of sparkling crystals. Enjoy a scenic cruise from Witznau across the tranquil waters of Lake Lucerne. While cruising, enjoy the breathtaking mountain scenery marked by steep alpine peaks, sloped forests, and fertile meadows and valleys beyond. Take a guided tour of Lucerne. Small cobblestone streets, squares with fountains and frescoed buildings typify the city. Soak up the festive atmosphere of Lucerne while wandering through its Christmas markets and enjoy a mug of holiday cheer, Glühwein. Then travel to Basel, where you'll embark on an 8-day cruise on the Rhine River. Visit the enchanting medieval town of Rietveer, beautifully dressed in her holiday finery with twinkling decorations and a lively Christmas market. Visit Strasbourg, which is especially beautiful during the season of Advent. The Christkindl market dates back to 1570, making it the oldest Christmas market in France. Enjoy a panoramic bus tour that takes you past the Parc de l'Orangerie and the European Parliament and the Place de la République. Afterwards, walk through the historic town center, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and through the lovely Little France district, where you'll see the Cathedral of Notre Dame with its famous astronomical clock, and then visit the town's famous Christmas market. Visit Heidelberg, a perfectly preserved medieval city nested in the Neckar River Valley along German's Castle Road, followed by a visit to its Christmas markets. Enjoy scenic cruising through the Rhine Gorge to see the picture-perfect castles sitting on its dramatic river bluffs. Discover the historic beauty of Cologne, Germany, home to the UNESCO-designated Cologne Cathedral, and take in Cologne's Christmas markets. Located in front of the Cologne Cathedral, this Christmas market is one of the largest and most renowned in Europe. Next, take in the Christmas charm of Amsterdam. We'll cruise the iconic canals of this city, which is considered the Venice of the North, and admire its historic architecture along the way before disembarking the ship and flying home. Okay folks, there you have it. That's our 2022 River Cruise preview. And before you go, I just want to let you know, if you haven't seen it already, I'd highly encourage you to watch our current YouTube feature, the 25 best national parks to visit in the USA.